Welcome to Season 8 of Paper Talk,
where we will explore how to build a creative community that fuels your art and your business.
Hi, I'm Quinn Nguyen of Pink & Posy.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
This season is all about connections.
We'll share stories, strategies, and collaborations that strengthen your own community.
Tune in every other Thursday for new episodes.
Thanks for joining us today, and be sure to follow Paper Talk Podcast. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk. So we've been doing a small little series where we've been talking to other artists in our community. And, paper flower is a pretty small niche, but I feel like it's been growing and growing. And we're so excited to invite Carrissa Wu from Perth, Australia to join us because, paper flower happens around the world. And it's always great to get different perspective from artists from other countries because even though we make the same product, how we run our business, how we market our paper flowers is slightly different from country to country. So Carrissa, welcome to our podcast.
Hi, Carrissa.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you guys today.
Us too. It's been really fun to kind of see you on Instagram. Just before we hopped on to press recording, we were just talking about how long all of us have been following each other for a number of years. And I find it so interesting that you followed us when you were in the university.
Yeah.
And we have already established our business. And to see you now have your own business doing this, did you ever think that you would be doing paper flowers as a career?
No, it's very surreal talking to you. Yeah, because I've been following you all for so long and the beautiful flowers you've created, I think it really inspired me to think that, art and business can go hand in hand. I always wanted to have a shop or a studio from, way back. I was starting little businesses when I was like 10, drawing comic books and trying to sell them to my friends for like 10 cents. And I think seeing you guys online made me think, it's a reality for some people. They've actually, in the real world, they're doing what I would love to do. And then in terms of paper flowers, I think I just landed on that because it was so fun. And I got addicted and I had all these flowers and I was like, I don't know what to do with them. And so I started to sell them and that's kind of where it began. But yeah, I never would have imagined that it has become what it is for me today. Yeah, I'm still kind of in shock, I think, most of the time.
I know we were talking about how quickly you were able to grow your business and grow your team. I find that so fascinating how you just made a decision and just went with it. Can you tell us what made you decide, okay, this is going to happen? And how did you grow your team?
Yeah. Honestly, for a bit of context, I think for most of my life, I've had quite an unregulated nervous system. I probably operate out from a place of, wanting to prove something, like maybe proving my worth or my abilities rather than a place of security. So I think that's a bit of maybe the dark side of some of the decisions I've made where when I first started my business and I quit my job at the casino nearby. There's only one casino in Perth, but it was a corporate job and it was stable and fine. Yeah, I guess on the positive side, I just really wanted to try having an art business. But on the other side, I, felt like I had to make my 20s kind of prove something, like worth something. Yeah, and so in terms of growth, like when I first started, I had this big long list of, I want to be on Frankie, I want to work with the King's Park Botanic Gardens in Perth, I want to do this and this, and have my flowers in the museum. And all of those things have happened like through one way or another, which is incredible. But I think a lot of the time, I probably just went too hard, too fast and grew. I jumped before I was ready and I grew before I really counted the costs of that. So while the growth has been really exponential, it's also come at a big cost, like financially and also like because of my attention and energy. I've often found myself staring at the face of a gigantic project that I have no idea how to complete or like a kind of a few months of cash flow that I'm like, how did I get myself into this situation? Yeah, so that's both sides of the journey, I think. Yeah.
I think that's how we all started, like we kind of had to jump right in order to get it going. And it's funny when you bring that up because actually we run a mastermind where we are kind of coaching other like new businesses that are doing art related businesses. And a lot of times we're like, you just need to do it, and you almost need to dream big and make big goals and then just go for it. So, I mean, I mean, like Carrissa, you're the proof of this because you've grown so well. And I love seeing all your workshops. And I mean, like, Can you just actually let us know how long have you been in business? Because I don't actually know when you officially started.
Yeah, I think I officially started in 2020. So COVID happened. So I was stood down from my corporate job at the casino, but I was still getting paid, which was great. So I had 3 months of paid leave pretty much and no work to do. So I was thinking, I haven't done art in ages because I work full time. When I get home, I'm tired. And my husband and I just got married. So we were, doing up our house and kind of getting into a new rhythm. So that was a beautiful 3 months. I know lots of people had it really hard, but I had a great time being at home and making flowers. And I started to sell them online. Yeah, I kind of thought, I may as well experiment, because this is always something I've been wanting to do. And then, I got some sales on Etsy for bouquets. I had a wedding commission from the States as well that I really enjoyed. Yeah, so when work came back, I was just stuck on my phone. I would say, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I'm in my phone replying Etsy orders and doing stuff on Instagram. Yeah, I saw that there was a studio available at Stackwood, which at the time had a cafe, and it was just a fun co-working space. And I kind of counted, okay, on average, the orders that I've been making kind of match the monthly rent. So surely if I stop my work completely and I have all my time to dedicate to this, I should be able to make it work, right? And then, just rented the studio. And I remember signing the contract and being like, what have I done? Now I have to make this work for at least a year of whatever I signed.
Yes, no options.
Yeah, so I think there's a bit of that, failure is not an option kind of mentality that drove me forward, especially, those early days where no one knows you and you don't know anything and you just have to
that's amazing.
Figure it out.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
your studio is in Fremont, right? Tell us a little bit about, is it a city? For those of us who are not familiar with Perth.
Yeah, no worries. I grew up in Singapore half my life, and I've been in Perth for 16 years now, and still I'm still learning about the city. So Perth, Western Australia is along the coast. So Fremantle is right on the harbour. You got ocean, and then Fremantle is that suburb. I started in a warehouse it was a cafe, and there were little studios and artists working together in a plant shop and everything. I think we started out in what is now the storeroom in that studio, and then every year I've moved spaces for one reason or another. And then,
it looked huge. The studio looked huge. You have these big flowers everywhere, and it looked amazing.
By the time I was done with it, we took up half the warehouse, the front space. It was because it was previously a diesel mechanic shop. So there were all these hanging rafters that we could hang garlands from. But just yesterday, we've emptied out that space and said goodbye to the warehouse. And now we're moving into a pop-up shop, which is opposite a piercing salon, and it's right in the heart of the Fremantle city next to the market. So from a warehouse that's kind of like you have to know where it is to get to it, to we're in the center with lots of foot traffic and shops around. So it'll be a different experience for sure. But that's where we're at the moment.
We actually never asked you about Jotterbook Flowers. Where that name came from. What was your impetus for starting a paper flower business? And we talked about expanding and such. Did you imagine yourself having to hire all these people? Was that your goal? I want to run my, studio with studio helpers who can help me with my workshops. Because we saw on your website, you had 300 workshops. You've run 300. That's a lot. So how did that come about? In terms of how does Jotterbook Flowers and your original intention of, making paper flowers translate into a big team where you're running a lot of workshops and, a huge space, and now you're going to be in the center of the city. How does that come about?
Yeah, it's right, the evolution. Yeah, I remember in my first studio space, which is now the storeroom, writing down a list of what kind of visualizing where I want it to be in 1, 2, 5 years. And I remember running lots of workshops, having a team. Yeah, and for no particular reason other than I just wanted to see what it would feel like, what it would be like to have that. I just thought it would be cool. I don't know. But there were practical reasons as well, I guess. Yeah, I mentioned I started out by selling bouquets, and because I like doing the craft, so I wanted to make things to sell. But I was finding that really challenging because I can only make so much and it takes so much time. And then if you want to price it so that you actually make a profit and pay for overheads like rent, you have to price them pretty high. And so the audience that I don't know, I felt like it just wasn't enough. And I think as a creative person, it's hard to toe that line between creative and business owner, because as a business owner, I would do market research on what things sell the most and then just make more of that or try to make the way I make things more time efficient so that, I get bigger profit margins or whatever. But as a creative, I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. I want to play and explore new techniques and have fun. So those things really didn't go well together. Yeah. And I think I just, wasn't making enough money really from selling things and to cover costs and bring in income for my husband and I. So I met up with a friend who is a great business owner and a photographer, Nathaniel, and he suggested, why don't you just try workshops? Like pick one thing to be your bread and butter, and then you can do whatever you want once that's kind of stabilized. So I did and kind of took the experience that I have from making flowers, one that helps me to be calm and mindful and, make something beautiful, gives me a sense of confidence, and I guess package that experience to provide that for other people. And I think it was a perfect storm of that decision. And then, COVID, in Perth, we were able to walk around everywhere, but we just weren't able to travel. So everyone had, time and funds to pour into activities in Perth. So that just went like that. And workshops were filling, and I was getting inquiries from like libraries and councils to festivals to, come show people how to do this. And so that's how the workshops kind of happened. And then at one point I was like driving from one end of Perth in Fremantle down south to Balladura, which is like 45 minutes north.
Wow.
On the same day, and then back down to do another class on my own. And I was, getting sick and forgetting things and getting really irritable. And I was like, okay, can't do this anymore. like I'd forget the glue sticks or the, and I could feel like I was starting to crack. So that's when I hired my first team members to run the classes instead of me. Yeah. So we could do two at once. So be in
so you
different
have to
locations
train
at the
them.
same time.
Do they run the workshops without you completely, or is it like a team effort?
Yeah, they are amazing. Like I have the best team. I've always had a coach, I realized, for most of my business, a business coach who've been able to help me with some of that scaling stuff. Like how do you train? How do you make sure the quality stays the same when the owner is not operating everything? Yeah, there were definitely hiccups, but I think we would do a staggered approach where at first they would watch me, or they would be a participant. They would be in a workshop to get the customer experience from me directly. And then they would be my assistant and watch me do things. And then I would be their assistant and watch them do things, which was probably nerve-wracking for them. And then finally, they would just be on their own. So, and then lots of like written instructions and reminders. And there were definitely hiccups at the beginning. And some customers who had come to lots of workshops with me said, I don't want to go to one with anyone else, but they've soon grown to love each team member. So I think they run them.
So how do you go about choosing the teachers or the employees that can work and run your workshop? What do you look for in these people?
Mostly personality, I think. Like, do they have a good vibe? Like, do I enjoy talking to them in the interview, Because that's really... Like paper flowers, you guys know. I mean, you have all pushed your craft like to limits that normal people don't go to. But the basics are quite basic. Like you can, it's not hard to learn to begin with. So that stuff is easy, but it's more like, are they attuned to people? Like, are they able to pick up, cues? Do they read a room well? So it's really that kind of like personality thing. We have quite a thorough interview process. I think it starts with like a questionnaire online, and then I did a phone screen with the ones that I shortlisted, and then I interviewed further the ones that I shortlisted from the phone screen. So really, I think, by the time I'm speaking to someone, I kind of know whether they will fit in the team or not. Yeah, it's mostly that relational aspect than anything else.
It's hard to find good help. That's why we're asking.
Have you guys tried? Do you guys have helpers as well?
Yes.
For some of your bigger projects and things like that?
Have helpers, but I've been trying to there's been so many other projects that I've been lucky enough to curate, so I don't have to have helpers, but I can take more time to make things happen. So, but finding good help has been really difficult. I would say that's reliable, that can produce the work that the level that you want it to be at.
Yeah. And I was just talking to Quinn, wasn't it today that I was telling you that I had a team that, we've been with each other for maybe 2 years or even 3. And I think ultimately, it's hard to find help that, takes it as serious as you do as a founder, right? And as the owner. And I think the biggest thing was like for them, I hired a lot of people that also wanted to do their own thing eventually. And this was their side job to get them there, and which is, totally fine. And I supported a lot of them to, go start their own thing and things like that. But I think that's the hard issue that like no one took it as serious as I did. And I was the only one that cared about the little details. So, and Carrissa, when you mentioned like reading the room, when I did workshops and events and I was totally that manager, just monitoring them and being like, you should be on your feet, like don't sit down, like, and it made me become kind of I realized I'm just not good at managing people. And that's a job of its own. To be a good boss is a job, right? Yeah. And I mean, clearly you're doing a great job. I mean, like even talking about your interview process, it sounds a lot more professional than the way I was starting out when I did try to build a team. And actually, because of COVID, for me, I decided to just fully let it go. And I figured out how to do business by myself.
So that was before COVID, and then now it's a solo operation.
But she's thinking about ramping it back up again.
Sometimes.
Oh, really? Yeah, put the notifications on for your profile. Make sure I see what you've got coming up. It certainly is challenging. I don't know if like maybe I just got really lucky, but my team members, they care. I honestly feel like they care more than I do.
Yeah, that's great.
About the business sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, guys, don't worry about it. And they're like, no, we have to make sure it's, I think if I think about it from a wider lens, maybe there could be a few factors. Their pay is really good. So that's motivating. And there's been a progression over the years as well, where they started off a bit lower. And then the laws around hiring in Western Australia are quite strict. So like employees are just looked after really well. Not to say that, people who don't get paid a certain amount should not or don't find pride in their work. But I think particularly my team, I guess it rewards their loyalty and their dedication. And I think every time I if I'm floored by how amazing they are, I'm like, oh my gosh, have an extra, whatever, or like do this. And it wasn't always like that. When I first started, I was really quite anxious and a bit negative about things. Like I would often pick up on, oh, you didn't do this. And one of my team members said, I don't feel like I get any positive feedback from you at all. And I was like, you're so right. I don't even give myself positive feedback. And that really made me think like, it's quite demoralizing if no one really gets like praise.
You know what was really important is one thing is like, I felt like they felt comfortable to tell you this. A lot of employees, they wouldn't say that if they were not. And so I feel like you created a great environment for people to give you this feedback and for you to change it. And then for your team to have this type of love for your business, love for yourself, and love for each of the members of your team. I think that's fantastic. It's really hard for entrepreneurs to create that environment for people because they're always, critical. They want everything to be super perfect. But for you to be like, create that and without realizing it, it's even amazing.
I really appreciated that she told me that. I think feedback from my business coaches as well, Steph and Tim, they said, if someone can do it 70% as good as you, that's good enough. And that's really hard to accept when, I'm used to looking after every single detail. But over time, that 70% became like 150, 200%. And I guess it's like that trust and allowing them to make their mistakes. And when they do, being like, it's okay. You forgot the scissors for a workshop. We just learned to make a checklist. Like, it's not a you problem. It's a systems problem. And it's information that we can use to keep growing. Internally, that's been like challenging, but I can see the outcome of that.
No,
it's awesome. Just a great team. Yeah.
So how big is your team?
I have one offshore virtual assistant that helps with the social media posting and things. Her name is Jack. She's beautiful. And then we have 4 casual team members.
That's amazing.
In Perth.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And me. And my husband sometimes.
Yay for
works
husbands.
for free.
Yes.
I know. Husbands are the best.
Yes.
We didn't sign up for this.
Okay,
but here
so
they
let's
are.
talk about family since you brought that up. You've just had a baby. How has that changed? I mean, you have such a good team. I felt like everybody was ready and prepared when you had your baby. Did you go on maternity leave? And if you did, how did your business run? Did you have to be looking at it as often as you thought or less than you thought?
Yeah. I was so apprehensive about becoming a mom. I would tell my friends, they say, oh, how are you doing? Are you excited? And I would say, I feel like I'm preparing for my death. I feel like I'm just setting everything up so that, no, seriously, that's just how I felt. I don't know. It's just like, after I had this baby, I don't exist anymore. Like,
I understand.
I don't know. It's just what
Yeah.
the mindset I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know what the other side would be like,
For sure.
whether I would like it or not like it. And so I just thought, I don't know, I may as well just pretend that I am not going to exist after this time, and then we'll see what happens. It's so funny because like on the other side, I'm like, life is great.
Yeah.
Like life is better with a baby than before. And yeah, what was I so afraid
Yeah.
of? But I didn't, hindsight, I guess. Yeah, so I held off some of the big once-off installation projects that, would have needed to kind of be there to manage. We just did the workshops that our team have done over and over again, so they're super comfortable. Marketing was all kind of laid out, just systemized, like every day of the week is a different type of content. And then I just filled out that calendar with prompts so that Jack can make the content. Yeah, so I think, no, but I lie. Like when Quentin was 2 days old, I was on the phone with someone setting up an install, like giving her directions already. So it was kind of set up so that it could mostly run, but I think it's a me thing where I just needed to keep checking in and tinkering with it. But I think I worked maybe an hour or two every week or something, very minimal.
Yeah.
And mostly because I just wanted to check in.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, enjoy this time. It flies by with the child, with the baby, the newborn. It really does fly by.
Yeah.
And I think as women who have worked all your life and you've had your own business or your own career or your own job or your own professional, involvement in something that you feel really invested in, it's really difficult to kind of look away from that, even if it is a baby, and especially like you said, it was your first, you didn't really know what was going on. What would happen on the other side? Yeah. You're used to being a little selfish. Can I say that? Like a little bit selfish about yourself, like about your time, about what you consider as being productive, a productive
100%.
person in society, and you work so hard for it, right? Like in your 20s, that's what it was like, go, go, go. You're, hearing from you, you're very ambitious. And I was like, wow, in my 20s, it was like, like, go, go, go. There was like no babies, no husband. It was like, this is what I want, right? And I'm going to make it happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's what drove you to grow your team, to like be able to dream so big and just go for it and take those leaps. It is different though, once you have a family, because then those leaps become not just your leaps, but they could also become your family's leaps and failures. And it becomes a little bit more of trying to balance your identity of like, you're going to feel like it's being pulled one way versus the other. And I mean, hopefully you'll be able to find a way to find that balance. But I can already sense that there probably will be a lot of friction at some point, initially at least, until you've figured out a way to deal with that kind of, I don't want to say resentment, because sometimes I do resent my kids, like to be really frank, because I can't do what I want to do and I have other responsibilities. And that's just the reality. But like, it'd be so interesting because like you have a team. And I think that, like you said, there's a lot of stuff that they already can do. There's stuff that they know what to do. They're safe hands. And I feel like you have that kind of set up for you in a way that makes it a little bit easier to deal with that transition, if that makes sense. Because like for Sarah and I, we literally was just us, right? Right. We had our child and then it's like, okay, well, we got to deal with everything else. We got to deal with teaching. We didn't have a team there that we could rely on, people we trusted who could run our business while we were we had other responsibilities. So I feel like, I look forward to seeing how you, approach it and how you approach motherhood and what kind of kernels of wisdom you can share with us later on, because it's not, because every mother goes through it and we all understand how that feels like. But I think that like you've done a really good job in setting yourself up with a team. And I never had that. So I'm so interested in seeing how that transition relates to you and what you feel about, your role later on in your business. But all that said, what are your plans moving forward? You mentioned a pop-up. How did that come about? And how do you see that being integrated in, like, how do you see your motherhood, I guess, integrate into your involvement in this pop-up?
The first few months of, you've described it perfectly, like the push and pull, the I want to do this, but this little person needs me and I love them so much. And yeah, and the resentment that can build, I've definitely already felt that, even though he's 5 months old. Yeah,
I know you love this little thing, and yet at the same time, you're like,
it's crazy. And the first few months of him being born, like I'm just used to being able to do whatever I want, and yeah, it's a lot of letting go. Like, to plan a grocery run now is like, actually my husband does all the groceries. He's great. He's been looking after us really well. But to want to do anything now, I need to plan so much, whereas in the past I could just do whatever. Yeah, and the first few months were very, very difficult because he was born end of October, so right at the start of our kind of quiet period over Christmas. So things are already slow. And then we still have the same overheads to pay. And, I have no sleep and I'm recovering from a C-section and this humongous life change. And honestly, I was checking in on the business because like our money was running out. And I was like, I had to pull from my savings to cover the rent a couple of times. And with a baby, that's like, it's such a terrible feeling of like, I felt like I was, letting my family down, that the business wasn't doing what it's meant to do, which is, partly to provide for us as well. Yeah. So when I had some space to think about it, I was like, the offer is not the problem. Like people are booking into workshops. I'm getting inquiries. They want to come. The team is not the problem. They are excellent. We're getting 5-star reviews, after their classes. They're running things operationally. It's going great. The problem is the cash flow. It's that, me being in a very limited space, the overheads and the costs, higher than what we're getting back, which just led me to, see that the numbers are not making sense. And I don't need this big studio to run a healthy business. It's not allowing me to do that anymore. So I just made the decision to, okay, I'm going to build a shed in our backyard to put all my sculptures, and I'm going to just, have a little home space and then run classes at other venues or, for clients so that I don't have to have those overheads to cover every single month. So that was my plan. And I just pulled the pin and said, okay, I'm giving up my rent. Like I have enough. And it wasn't until like 2 weeks after when we got in touch with Space Market. They're an organization in Perth that activates vacant spaces. And they said, we have a shop for you in the middle of Frio. You can have it for, 5-6 months. And the rent is ridiculously cheap. Would you like it? And I said, yeah, sure. We'll have that. And so it feels so like a huge weight off my shoulders to be looking at the next few months and seeing that we can still do the same thing we're doing, but without that huge financial pressure. And I don't know what happens after the 6 months is up, whether we'll look for a new space or be at home for a bit. But I guess it's just the flexibility that's needed, like if something's not working, just cut it off. Find another solution instead of trying to beat a dead horse and make it happen when it's just not. There's proof that it's not working. Yeah. So that's how it's transitioning and how I'm finding it more manageable at the moment. Yeah. Because the team are great. They can still run things. Yeah.
I mean, that shows that you're a good business person to recognize that it's a dead weight. And the hardest decision is cutting it off because it's been doing so well, but also recognizing like it is bleeding money out and you just don't have room or the space to create more work to pay for that. And you have to know your numbers. I mean, we tell our mastermind people that know your numbers, run it every quarter to make sure that it's giving you profit. Is it the right avenue for you to go? Should you be investing all that time and energy and money to put in something that will grow or will it not grow? And I mean, my hat's off to you. That takes a lot because I know the pressure when you have a team that you have to pay their wages and you have to build the right environment to carry the team along is so difficult. And it's just really impressive to see how you're managing this. And I just know that when you say no to something, other doors will open. And I'm really happy that you can see these opportunities for yourself.
That's a really good point. Like sometimes if I just stick with one view of it has to look this way, I miss out seeing what else is, out there, what other options that are. How do your mastermind students usually respond when you mention about the numbers?
Their eyes glaze over. I think it takes a little bit of time because our mastermind, everyone works for themselves. And right now they're just beginning. So the numbers are really easy to review to make sure that it's going the right way. But I think as you do grow, I think a lot of people forget to review their numbers from the year before and to also review it for the present and also project what's going to happen in the future. Yeah. And I think it's so important to know, because if you do a business plan, it always asks the question, what are you going to be doing in 3 to 5 years? What does it look like in 10 years? And I think a lot of people get so focused on making decisions and doing things right now, they don't know how to project what it will look like in the future. And if you know what you want to have happen in the future, the decision you make now can shape what that will look like or what you can achieve in the future.
Yeah.
I think I might have to join your mastermind because I don't know how to project into the future
We actually have
either.
someone in New Zealand.
Yes.
I will look into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Yeah, just next
She's
door.
so committed, and she shows up at like 5 a.m. But I feel like that's what
the
you
time
need.
Zone.
It is crazy, but I think that
that's
she's driven,
crazy.
and that's proof that she's driven. And I think you need to be driven to succeed.
Yeah.
You really can't wait for things to happen. You need, if not a plan, at least you need to dream. You need to be able to dream
And also talk about your dream.
Yeah.
If you keep your dream inside of you, it doesn't have room to grow. And I think by putting it out there, you are being held accountable. It's like, you said this. We're waiting for it to happen. And then we also kind of like, hey, I saw this opportunity. I know you want to make this happen. You should be doing this to get to that point. And I think that's really important. I wish when I was growing my business, I had a mastermind that I could be talking about my decision on how to price things, how to run the workshops, and all those different things. And I think that's so incredibly important.
Yeah.
Carrissa, do you want to let us know, like maybe what are your long-term goals with Jotterbook? Do you see yourself continuing on with workshops, or is there like a goal that you really want to do, like that you haven't done yet, maybe?
I think I honestly, an aside kind of, but it's related. At Bible study last night, we were looking at Genesis chapter 2. And so God, on the 7th day, had finished all his work and then he rested. And I was thinking as I read that, wow, it's an interesting concept that he said he was finished. Because I feel like, it's hard to know when you're finished with something, like an artwork particularly. Like I feel, there's always things to improve on and you could keep tinkering here and tinkering there and fixing things. But I actually kind of feel like with Jotterbook flowers, I might be finished. Like I think the workshops, those are going great. We found a system that works and people have so much fun making the giant flowers especially, and the sculptures, that was an itch I really had to scratch. Like I wanted to just make giant sculptures that were taller than me and we did that, and we have a system for that now even. I think maybe the last thing for me would be to make it a business that makes sense, that is a real business, not just a creative hobby that sometimes makes money, sometimes doesn't, but a business that runs well, that has a healthy profit margin, and that isn't a source of stress. Like it's genuinely a joyful thing all the way around, not just the flower making part. So I think that would be my long-term goal with it. And I think I feel ready to explore other creative things as purely creative expression rather than being a business, just having fun with art again.
I know there is a distinction between business and self-expression in a way, isn't there? It's hard to find that balance. Like you were saying, I think at the very beginning of our interview, you were talking about that tension between designing a business that runs efficiently and making the art that might not be efficiently made. That makes sense. I think that tension really is real. But it's interesting that you are open to the possibility of being finished as well. I think that's really inspiring too, because it is hard for people to, people might be like, oh, but you're doing so well. You're at the top of your game. Like, why do you think you're finished? And I feel like that might be the artist in you saying like, but I want more, maybe another way of expressing yourself. It's not just the business part that you're looking for in the future. So, I mean, that's really interesting to hear. Speaking of Margie as well, who we talked to a couple of weeks ago, it's kind of similar vibe in terms of knowing that, well, when I need a break, or this is the time to stop, or this is the time to end this part of my life, or to take a pause. It's so refreshing to see. It's hard to do those pauses without being like, oh, I'm so scared. Like, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose it all, So it's interesting to hear you say that.
I mean, have you guys ever done that? in all the time you've been doing your businesses, have you had a pause or come to this kind of crossroads?
I used to have my own catering business like a couple of decades ago. And there was a lot of different reasons where it gave me a hard push to say, I need to move on. I had hurt my back on doing this and I was trying to figure out, and I had a very large team working for me. I was very, very fortunate. My business was doing really well. And I had another chef come by and ask outright if he could buy my business. It just happened to be, I was very open to the idea and he brought it. So it was a great handoff where I was like, okay, I can walk away with this and I know my employees will be taken care of and that the business will continue on.
That is so cool. I love to hear about your experience of that.
Yeah, I was going to say anytime you pivot and do something different, I think that's when you've kind of accepted that, okay, this is as far as I can go. So, career-wise, Sarah and I both have switched careers, right? So at the time for me, it was actually, I had a feeling, it was like a real, true feeling that I needed a change. My job law is never boring, but it was boring. It was boring me. Every day it seemed like the same to me. And I wasn't I was doing networking events and I was not enthusiastic at all about marketing my practice. And I was like, what is wrong with me? But yeah, I think you get those, deep inside when you need a change or when something's not working or you need to look at, changing it, reframing it or whatnot. But yeah, around that time, that's when I found art again. So yeah. And then the other time was when my younger son was going through all these allergy issues and we were in and out of ER. And I literally was like, I can't take all these commissions anymore. I have to stop. And I literally stopped all my commissions because I couldn't work on a deadline as my son was going through all these health issues. But yeah, I never thought it would stop, but I was also at the point where I knew I had to set my priorities and my priority couldn't be my job. It couldn't be art. It had to be Killian first. And then, whatever, if things came about, I could say yes or no. Most of the time it was no with the commissions, but it did force me to change the way that I ran my business. But yeah, so in a way, yes, I guess you have sometimes in your business, even if it continues on, there are times when you're like, no, I can't do it this way anymore. And this is it. I have to do it.
Yeah. I think what I find so empowering about running a business or, doing art as a means for making income is that everything I've learned are skills that will stay with me. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You can apply these skills of marketing and, social media and designing events or products to literally anything. So just because, something changes or looks different doesn't take those skills away from me. And yeah, I can do that with whatever it is that comes next or continue with this. It doesn't really matter so much if things have to look different.
It's an experience, learning experience, like anything else. It's a learning experience, right? Yeah.
And you have to look after yourself. If you physically can't do something, that's just, there's no point in breaking your back or sacrificing yourself to try to make that happen. That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's supposed to be enjoyable, right? This is why why we ended up here was because we wanted to do something we were passionate about.
Exactly.
Right?
The business trip.
When it comes to a point.
That's it. I guess the business is there to help us, not the other way around.
Yes.
I just love all what I can see in the backgrounds, Jessie, your fine art print, and Sarah, all your buckets of paper flowers and the installation behind prints. Just all these different expressions of, how you found ways to keep being creative in your different phases of life. It's so beautiful what you guys have made as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's been very, very fun. All the ups and downs of finding the art in each of us. I think it's a very important thing. Yeah. And I feel like we're so lucky to have been able to balance the business side and the art side and to make it work for ourselves. And to be in this niche for such a long time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But speaking of joy, and it's been such a great pleasure having you here on this episode, we always end our episode with, what have you purchased lately that has brought you joy? And it could be anything.
I have gone down the baby carrying rabbit hole. Baby wearing? Baby carriers? Oh my God. I'm in Facebook groups where they talk about all the different slings and the fabric GSMs and all the patterns and it's just so fun. So I I've ordered
Yes.
a new sling from someone who lives an hour and a half down south of me, and it's beautiful, like purple, blue color. And the brand of it is Fairy River, which I can't find anything about online, but I kind of love that. The label is like handwritten. So I'm very excited to get that in the mail sometime soon.
Yeah.
Aww. Yay.
Yay.
The snuggles. Oh,
Yeah.
the snuggles.
Yeah.
Aw,
Baby
yeah.
smells so good. Why is that?
Yeah, he just wants to kind of
It's addictive.
Yeah.
You should bottle that up.
He just wants to hang out with me while I make banana bread or, walk around. So I'll just have him buy all the things and just have him next to me so I can still do things.
Aw, so sweet. Yes.
I remember I used to wear Tristan when I was like making flowers. Not with Killian. Killian, I just put it on the bumble seat. With Tristan, I always like had him here and like was doing work. And it's because he was like short enough so that he wasn't like up here. But yeah, those carriers are amazing. They're just like it's so free. You can do things with your hands. You don't need to like have a stroller.
Exactly.
And I think it's so precious holding them close too. Because some babies grow really fast. And I think they're like really big.
Yes.
Yeah. Those precious months where you can still do that is like, it's
Very
beautiful.
cute. Yeah.
Jessie, what have you purchased so far that has brought you joy?
Oh, like a couple months ago, I got these like the heatless overnight curlers. I actually wore them today.
Very nice.
Yes, I know. It's because my hair after my pregnancies have gotten so thin. Like, it's not thin, but it's so much thinner than like before. Like when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I have too much hair. And then now it's like, I blow dry my hair, I brush it. There's like no hair on the ground. Like my dad used to get so mad at me. He'd be like, I think that was his pet peeve. He'd be like, oh, your hair is everywhere. And now it's like, nowhere. And so like now I'm like, I need to like umph it up a little bit so it doesn't look so thin. So anyways, I've been using these overnight hair curlers, testing it out. It's a little uncomfortable to sleep in, I have to say, but a little bit more comfortable than socks, like the sock overnight hair curlers. I think I might try a different one, but anyways, I don't know. You're always on the hunt, right, for the best tools.
Yeah.
It's just nice not to have to, curl my hair with a curling iron because it's really drying. Honestly, it takes forever. So as a mom, you just want to do like multitask. You want to multitask.
So true.
Right? It's like you got your facial mask on while you're doing things. You're like, like folding laundry or whatever. Like you just want to multitask. So but anyways, that's been a fun buy.
Yeah. How about you, Sarah?
I just got into junk journaling. So I've been thrifting like crafts, which is funny because I had just, cleared out my craft room with all crafting materials in the new year. And then I sent them out to the thrift store, right? And then I'm repurchasing what I donated probably. Because I got into junk journaling, which is basically scrapbooking. And I need those random, mismatched paper that I probably didn't think I needed them. And now I need them. So I'm going back to the thrift store that I donated everything. And I'm like getting all of those. It's under $20 though. They put like a little baggie full of collected, craft supplies.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually on the hunt for random crafts.
I love it.
What about you, Quinn?
So I've been on the kick of doing sourdough bread again, but this time I've been challenging myself to do more inclusions. So my latest sourdough is actually dry sour cherries with walnuts. And it was actually really, really good because the walnut's a little bit sweet, but then you have the tartness of the cherries and it's like sweet and a little bit savory all at the same time. And it smells amazing. Yeah.
I'm sure.
And it always looks so good.
Oh, thanks.
Like when you take photos.
Yeah. So my next one is going to be a lemon blueberry. So I'm going to do like lemon zest and dried blueberries. I think it'll be really good.
Yes. Lemon zest in anything is good. I think it perks it up. Yeah.
That sounds so good. I've never heard.
And I get all my dry fruits at Trader Joe. I like to try new and different things.
Yeah.
And so my favorite one I used to do is bacon bread. So you just take, Trader Joe used to have these really inexpensive bacon ends where you would fry it up and then you would take bacon fat and the bacon and you would put it in your sourdough and the bread loved the fat and it would just poof up and it was so good.
Oh, wow.
And it was perfect for like an egg sandwich.
Yeah. Same.
Get some bacon
I'm so hungry now.
So good.
Yeah. I know. I was like, I'm getting hungry.
Thank you so much, Carrissa, for being on here and sharing your story, sharing your business tips, and also how you built your business. We can't wait to see what happens at the pop-up, and it's going to be really amazing to see what you do afterwards. Thank you so much.
It's been so nice talking to you guys in between the baby interruptions, and I just can't believe I spent the last hour chatting with you all after following your journeys for so long. Thank you for inspiring me. You really have. When I felt, down about things, I just thought there are people out there who are, making it work for them and continuing to do beautiful things, and you three are role models for me for that. So it's been a privilege. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, it's been a privilege for us to watch you grow and to bring your business to what it is now. I think that's really inspiring. It's not easy to run a team. It's not easy to find good people to work with. It's not easy to make decisions that you have. And you seem to make them so confidently. So it was so amazing being able to hear directly from you about your journey and the challenges and the sacrifices you had to make, but also the joy that it brings to all the participants who come to your workshop. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy day. I know you have a newborn, so it's tough to find that time for yourself. So we're grateful that you're sharing your me time with us.
No other thing I would have wanted to do this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrissa.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Bye.